Ready? Good evening. It is 7 p.m. and we'd like to open the April 6th, 2021. Say what?
May 6th. May 6th.
May 6th.
I'm sorry, May 6th, 2021, Library Trustees Board meeting. This meeting is being held virtually through Zoom. The town of Littleton began conducting remote participation Zoom meetings pursuant to the Governor Baker's emergency order suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law on March 19th, 2020. Since that time, unanticipated legal concerns relating to the open meeting law have been brought to our attention by the town clerk. Those concerns were supported by the Attorney General's office and confirmed by town council. One concern is that the chat function allows parallel text conversation to a board's public meeting. Chat is essentially running commentary that is occurring but is not moderated or followed by the chair. All participants and listeners may not be aware of comments being made because some meeting participants join by phone and do not see these conversations. Another concern is conversations between residents within the chat room which are not incorporated into the public record. In response to these concerns, the town will implement the following changes which in no way prohibit any member of the public from participating in discussion and sharing information during a public meeting, and will ensure that all listeners and participants have equal access to this meeting. People that join the Zoom meeting are set so their microphones are muted. If you called in by phone, please use *6 to mute or unmute your phone. So that the meeting can occur in an orderly fashion, we ask that people who join keep their microphones on mute so that background noises do not interfere with the meeting. If you wish to participate in the meeting, please use the raise your hand function available on Zoom, or if you called in by phone, dial *9, which will activate the raise your hand function. The meeting host will notify the chairperson of the raised hands, and the chairperson will determine whether and when to allow public comment. When called upon, participants should unmute and then state their name and address. After speaking, we request the participant return the microphone back to mute. Thank you.
Thank you. So public participation. Welcome Kimberly and Wendy, our future trustees. You won't be public next time. Anyone else on the calls, Sam?
Nope.
Okay, correspondence.
No correspondence.
Was the second grant payment, the second for the state aid this month, or was that last month?
I think that was last month.
Okay. Minutes approval from April Fool's Day. Did anyone have any comments on the minutes?
Just a spelling error on the second page on Katrina's name. I did not attend the meeting, so
I always get Katrina's name on my eyes. I'm so sorry.
You want to make me a Habsburg, don't you?
I'm so sorry. I think I was trying to go back and fix it too. It's like fast typing.
Okay.
I apologize. Sam,
But
are you
anyway.
going to fix that for me, or should I fix it and resend it?
I see it. I'll
Okay.
change.
Thank you.
Anything else on the minutes?
I move that we approve the minutes from April 1st, 2021.
Second?
Okay, so we're approving the minutes. Chris,
Yes.
Katrina,
Yes.
Dave,
Yes.
Demetra,
yes.
Mira.
Yes. Sorry, I'm late.
Okay. Nope, that's good. Okay, so minutes are approved. Treasurer's report.
Treasurer's report. Okay, it came late, came today. It turns out that our illustrious town treasurer, is that what he is? Treasurer?
Yes.
Yes, has a new baby son. So he was quite tied up. But he got back to us this morning, and the library building fund is $899,050.07. 899-050-07. Library trustees' gifts are $5,558.15. And I guess the money that we owe on the state grant is, the money that would be given on the state grant is $3,517,060.05.
I think the gifts account is what the MMDT account, if
Yeah,
you're confused.
Can you say that the MMDT again? Because I had from last year, last month, I had building, RHL fund, and the grant fund. So what was that middle number?
that's the MMDT,
What was that?
5,558.15.
All right.
And that is,
Sorry, that's on my end.
and the bath did come. I don't know if it got put out to everybody, but I sent it to Mark and Sam this morning. So I don't know if everybody else got it. That's the treasurer's report.
Can I just ask another question?
Sure.
Is RHL fund the same? Last month you reported the number with the RHL fund. Is that the same as the MMDT, or is that a different number?
Mark?
I
I'll
think
just
it's
take it
the same
off.
number. I
It's the
think the
same, okay.
RHL fund is the MMDT fund, and this time
Okay.
we called it the gift fund, but I think it's all the same.
Got it. I'm just going to take that. Okay. Thank you. Sorry. Just want to make sure I get the number.
So I have the Barth in front of me, and the total in the trust funds is just under $1.6 million. So I can break that down if people care, or we can talk about it more next time. Yeah. Okay. If there's nothing else, we'll move on to the Friends report.
Okay, so I was not at the last meeting, but from what I saw on the minutes and what I know, the big news was the book sale. So they had the book sale this past weekend with NHS volunteers and the books that people had dropped off, plus what was in the trailer. They had to pay for insurance. I guess that's now a new town policy. You have to pay for liability insurance, but they netted almost $1,300 with the book sale. So that was something. So that was pretty good. And I went, and there was a steady stream of people. So when I was there helping out, it was Sunday morning. And so there seemed to be a steady stream of people. And I guess Saturday morning, there was a line. They could let 25 people in, but there was a line of 20 people waiting. So it was well attended. And then also, let's see, they're doing staff appreciation. Instead of their annual appreciation luncheon, they bought Kimball Farms gift certificates for the library staff, and they approved money for summer readings. So summer reading is coming. And also, I believe they transferred about $9,000 to the trustees building fund. So if I missed anything, let me know.
Mary, do you know how much they charge for liability insurance? I'm just thinking future
It
events.
was, I believe, $240 something. So
For the 2 days.
For the 2 days.
Any questions on the Friends report?
Mira, can you repeat the last part of what you said? I was interrupted for a second and didn't hear. Is something about a donation to the library fund?
Yes, so they made, I believe, the exact amount, if you want that, $9,182 they transferred to the trustees building fund.
Where did that money come from?
From the Friends.
Oh, that wasn't the library sale. That was like a,
No.
a cumulative, some kind of cumulative.
It's the building fundraising, right?
Yeah, it's the building fundraising.
Fundraising,
Some
okay.
of the building fundraising comes directly to the trustees, and some of it goes to the Friends, and then the Friends give it to the trustees. So, so that's that money. I don't know if that money's been transferred, not already, or it's still being transferred, but yeah.
They approved it, I guess that's
They
what
approved it. We don't know if it's actually in our, so that money will end up in that MMDT building fund if it's not there already. We're not sure if it's already there or not.
Great, thanks.
So. Any other questions on the Friends report? If not, we'll move on to fundraising and public awareness. Do you want to take this one, Katrina, or do you want me to?
You're going to have to fill in where I go blank. So let's see. Since our last meeting, we wrapped up the library fundraising push on April 7th. And since then, we still have had some stuff trickle in and paperwork and whatnot. So we've been trying to like frantically make sure that we've got all our ducks in a row as we wrap that up. Let's see. And then Mark and I also wrote a grant for solar panels for the library, an EBSCO grant. So that was submitted last Friday, so about a week ago. And so we're hoping that, taking a long shot, that maybe we can get some money for solar panels for the building. And then, so what's coming up is that Sarah and I are going to work on finalizing the donor wall. So making sure that everyone's names are spelled correctly and how they want to be acknowledged on the wall. And also we've met with the sign person for all of the room naming signs to get some samples and see how that will look. And then we'll go to all those people to make sure that the information on their individual named area is correct. So we have a lot of wrap up to do before the deadline to finalize those signs and they go to print. So we got a lot of tasks to do, follow up to do.
Okay.
I don't know the results of our fundraising though.
So as Dave read off, the MMDT fund is currently at just under $900,000. And we have already spent $100,000 out of our fundraising account for the grant, which means that we have hit $1 million. Yay!
Happy dancing.
And we still have quite a few outstanding pledges. So Katrina and I are going to come up with kind of a press release to send out saying that we've reached the number, reminding people to fill their pledges. And so if for the money that exceeds the $1 million, we're free to spend it on the new building on how we wish. So we're looking for like potentially like expanding the hearing loop is one of the things we talked about, or solar panels or things like that. So if people have an idea on things that we had to cut from the project originally that we can put back in with the extra funds, we'd love to hear what your ideas are. Unfortunately, some of the things we cut, we can't put back, like making the patio a little bigger isn't really practical at this point, but we could, do potentially different furniture or things like that. So we'd love to hear your ideas. Feel free to reach out to me, Sam, Katrina, Sarah, someone, and figure out what we can do. It might also be nice to save a little bit of that money back, for, those things that we didn't figure in the original thing that we decided would be nice to have and not have to go to the town and ask for money. Also on the solar panels, we are waiting. Senator Eldridge is trying to get an earmark for $160,000 for the solar panels, which is what we're figuring is the approximate cost of the entire installation. He's trying to get that through the state budget. So we should hear more about that sometime towards the end of the month as well. So we're, beating all kinds of bushes to come up with money there. So, so yay, we reached the $1 million.
This is really, it's kind of sad. We're all sitting in our houses when we're celebrating this moment.
Yes.
This is why later we definitely need to go out and have those drinks that David mentioned at the beginning of the meeting, once we're allowed to do that.
So
we did it, guys. This is amazing.
Yes. So thank you to everyone for their hard work on pulling this together, and thank you to everyone that donated. So it shows the library's got a lot of support in town, so we appreciate it. So and
the good news is, I guess, the public messaging going forward can talk about grand opening, so that will be fun too.
Yes. Is there any questions on the fundraising? Don't all speak at once.
Good job for
Okay.
everybody. Good job. And thank you, Mark and Katrina, for making those final pushes and taking that. I know you guys have worked hard.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Building project updates. So we were in the building, what, 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago? And I think a lot has changed since then even. So at the meeting this week, I believe almost the entire downstairs is painted now. And the drop ceiling is going in the places that it's, they are going to move on to painting the upstairs next week sometime, I think. They're still waiting on the tile to come in for the bathrooms. It's been on the slow boat from Italy, but it hit New York and they're still waiting for it to arrive. We're negotiating. So LELD has donated a car charger to the library. So we're looking to on how to put that in at the new building. So there would be the existing charger up front and a new charger in the back. So we're trying to figure out how to make that happen going forward. The plan is actually to put in provision so that we could put in 2 chargers, so you could charge 4 cars at the same time, where we just have to, all the conduit would be in the ground, we just have to run the wiring. So it'd be a little simpler. What am I missing on the building, Sam?
Nothing much. We're finishing up on furniture. Natalie is working on some of the final lists, and the moving companies where I got some quotes. The lowest bidder is no longer the lowest bidder because they added prevailing wages and that brought them up. So now I went to the next lowest bidder and I'm waiting for them to send me a quote with prevailing wages, and we'll see what happens from there.
We are, as far as I know, we are still, so if we go back to the original budget, the town allocated $14.6 million. The construction budget was $15 million, where the trustees were going to make up the $400,000 difference out of trust funds. The numbers, the last number I heard was closer to 14.8. So we're under budget from the projection before we had shovels in the ground. So, and there's still money left in the contingencies to pay for things like the charger, the wiring for the charger, and the donor wall will be coming out of some of those owner contingency funds and things like that. So we are in pretty good shape on the budget as far as I know, and we're on track for opening sometime in September, I think. So. And we'll probably try to arrange another tour for the trustees towards the middle or the end of the month. Sam's trying to arrange a tour for the staff here in the next week or so, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So. Any questions on the building?
No, but that was the big question when I was at the book sale. Everybody was asking, when's the library going to open? So people are excited.
It should be early September, I think now is the hope, early to mid-September. So hopefully it'll be open for the beginning of school, but who knows exactly. The construction company's been trending ahead of schedule rather than behind. So it's all good there. Any other questions on the building? They're going to start the landscape work here in the next couple of weeks, I think. Yes, Dave?
Yeah, just I don't know if it really pertains to what we're discussing now, but I was wondering about the changeover time, the actual amount of time that the move would take, and does the old library have to shut down completely while we're moving, and the other one can't open because it's not ready yet? How does that work?
So the movers say it'll take at least on average 9 to 10 days. every moving company pretty much said the same thing, to move from the current library to the new one. And since we're taking down the shelves and putting them in the new library, we'll most likely have to close for at least 2 to 3 weeks during that time.
Okay.
So we still have to work out exactly what that means. It might mean, I don't know if that means like we're completely closed or we're open for people to pick up ILLs, or none of it, or somewhere in the middle. So I don't know how much of that's been worked out.
Yeah, we have to, it depends on the moving company and what they're, what we work out with them.
So.
Would there be chances for programming and some skeleton services like notaries and things in the meantime? I mean, I don't know what that means for staff too, but
Yeah,
sure we'll put them to work.
Yeah, we're definitely going to put them to work. So we'll figure out something as far as what services we can still offer to the public. But without the shelves there in the books, it's going to be hard.
Yeah. It'll make mini golf easier.
Yeah.
There's less obstacles, Mark. That's not as fun.
I wonder what we're going to find, like under shelves. Like, we're going to find treasure when we start moving things, do you think?
Should we
golf balls?
Yeah, I was going to say, can we take an under over on the number of, like, we all put our bid in for golf balls that are still in that building?
The question of it is actually how many of those were Sam's?
Probably all of them.
Okay, if there's nothing else on the building, trustee updates. Do you want to start, Chris?
I don't really have too much of an update. I did drop off my tax bill last week and came around the corner and went, wow, it looks like the picture. Because it had the sidings up now. So that's exciting. But aside from just working and trying to keep my head above water, I don't really have too much. Catherine was involved in the NHS volunteering as part of the book sale over the weekend. So she was my contribution to library affairs this month.
Okay. David?
Don't have a lot, except that tonight is my last meeting. And I just want to tell everybody how much I enjoyed working with them, and wish everybody the absolute best. Okay, and I'll be hanging around, just lounging in the new library while all you guys have to do all the work. But anyway, if you need any help, give a call. I can move books too and stuff. So, but anyway, I've had a great time. Thank you all.
Thank you to you, David, for everything that you've done.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, David. So like I said, I helped out at the book sale on Sunday, and so that was fun. And there was, I guess I heard that there aren't so most of the fiction, media, and kids books were all out of the trailer. So there was progress in cleaning out, and so moving books out. I attended the gardening program. I'm losing all track of time. Was that last night? I forget if that was last night, 2 nights ago. I don't know, but that was really interesting. So maybe I will figure out how to keep squirrels away from my tomatoes. I'm not sure. And yeah, I'm just bringing home lots of books and just sort of putting them in front of my kids because I never know what they'll read. So I'm like, here, try this one. And maybe they will pick it up and maybe they won't. But so things are going well. That's it.
Demetra?
So tonight is also my last meeting, and I really wish these past few years I could have put more time into helping out with the new building. But I am sure that Wendy and Kimberly are going to do a great job with what's to come in the future. And I don't know, I'm full of a lot of emotion, and I've gotten to work with so many great people over the years. And, you know, you take this idea that was just a piece of paper, and now look, you know, we have a building, and it's going to be open soon. And it was so much hard work, and it was so worth the effort. And I'm so proud of all of you, and Mark and Katrina especially. I've heard you guys spearhead these last this last year, like all the effort you guys have been putting in, like everybody actually, but I don't know, it's very overwhelming. And I'm just so incredibly proud and glad that you guys have stuck around these years. And really, I mean, God, it's beautiful. So I'm going to miss everybody, and I too will be around and try to help out when I can. And gosh, I'm so happy for the staff too. You guys must be psyched. I haven't seen you in a long, long time. But it's wonderful. Thank you so much for what you guys have given me. You guys were great. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you, Demetra. Thank you. Thanks for all that you've done. Thanks for sitting next to me in meetings when we were in person.
Katrina?
Well, I'm kind of sad I never got to sit in the same room as David and Demetra. But, well, I mean, since being a trustee, I sat in many rooms with you guys through the years talking about this building. And I really thank you guys for everything you put into this project. It's been great. All of us. It's kind of that Demetra just hit my emotional chord here, because we've hit that like $1 million, and it's 4 years ago when I jumped in, and 4.5, whatever, however long it's been. It didn't feel like we were going to get there. So it's a great sigh of relief and excitement. And thank you guys for your part in making it happen. In terms of other updates, it's been just all fundraising stuff for me and the building stuff. So I've already reviewed most of it. And then I don't know, I'm just really excited for the building. So there's lots of good things to come. Eric did do the 3rd grade book club. Jen continues to knock that out of the park, and he keeps asking when the next one is. So I'm hoping she'll do another one this summer. That was a hit in our house. So I thank her for that. And now I just can't wait to go visit you guys.
Thank you. Do our trustees next week have anything they want to add?
I'm just happy to be a part of this group. I'm so happy seeing all these smiles, and what a wonderful thing you all have done. And I feel like I'm coming in on the very tail end of everything, right where it stops being so hard. And I wish I would have been there to help along the way. Anyway, I was thrilled to see the inside of the library. And I did go, I don't know if it was within the past month, but I did take advantage of one of those opportunities to sign up and go into the current library. And I think I saw Sam. It just made me so happy to be there. And I checked out probably like 35 books, as if I could never go back again. And Ambi and I are just almost through those. But I can't wait to be back in either of the buildings. And I'm just really grateful to everything you guys have done.
Thank you. Do you have anything,
really
Wendy?
nothing. I would just echo Kimberly. I feel like it's such a privilege to be able to join this team, and we are in awe of everything you all have accomplished, and anything that I can do to help moving it forward, I am all in. So thank you.
Oh, well, thank you. And I wanted to thank David and Demetra David, you've been on the board for 8 years?
I looked it up the other day. It was 2014 when the other guy, the other director, what was his name? I can't remember his name now. When he was here, Kip. Yeah, that's when I came in. 2014, I believe it was.
And Demetra, you've been for 6. So.
Yes. And I remember our first meetings were in the Cooper room with no camera. And look where we are now. It's just crazy. So.
Yeah.
So thank you all. Thank you both for many years helping out on the library. It's been great working with you both. So.
And let me just add that being around the townhouse and the few live meetings I've had and talking with other people, this board is held as the gold mark to reach. When other people are talking about something, they go, yeah, well, the library trustees did it this way, or the library trustees this, or the library trustees that. So all of us, all of you, I think we did a pretty good job, and you still will. You still are. So welcome to the new ones coming in, and thank you to the ones that are still here, and goodbye to the other one that's leaving.
Okay. Director's report.
Okay, so the staff has been trained. We had 2 training sessions on Assabet, the new scheduling software. So right now we're working behind the scenes to get that up and running, and we plan to go live on June 7th. Curbside is going very well, so is browsing by appointment. We're averaging like 12 to 15 people per week. It's going well. Everybody loves coming in, and everybody keeps asking when they can come in for real. So we're excited to do that soon. And then 10 people have volunteered to be on our grant opening committee. I sent out an email to the staff and to Sarah and to the trustees asking for volunteers to work on a grant opening committee. And so I'll be in touch about that soon. Adult programs, financial aid 101 with Jack Wang was on May 4th. It had 6 people attend. Grow your own vegetables part 1 with Judith Taylor met on May 4th. Vegetable growing part 2 is on May 11th at 7 via Zoom. Bill Vales and the Geology of Tophet Chasm is on May 12th at 7. Bill Vales and the Geology of Newtown Hill is on May 19th. Virtual Fantastical Book Clubs meet every Saturday. Meet on May 15th at 2. Third Wednesday's book club meets on May 19th at 7:30. Littles and Letters story time is every Wednesday on Facebook. Virtual Toddler Story Time with Miss Jennifer is every Friday on Facebook. And second grade book club meets via Zoom on May 18th. Financials, we're doing well as far as payroll goes. We're heading into the final quarter, and we have about a quarter of the payroll left. Town materials, we've spent pretty much all of it, and we're into trustee materials right now. Actually, the trustee material is actually town materials. They never actually, for some reason, they label it that way in the budget, but we're still in town, technically. But we have reached the MAR. We're about 8,000 over what we should be for MAR. And then the rest is really just the stats. It's going well. Any questions?
Yeah, you're lagging behind on the notaries there, Sam.
I told you. They count pages. They count pages. There's no way she did 33.
Sam, you're the director. You get to standardize the definition.
Yeah.
Sam, if we have leftover programming money, what happens to that? Do we just get to roll that over, or?
The town programming money? No, that's we had a spending freeze, so we couldn't spend it. So that just goes back to the town.
What about there's trustees programming that says.
Oh yeah,
that there was there's $6,700 left to spend.
That's technically MMDT. That's money that we transferred over from MMDT. So that does transfer to the next fiscal year.
Okay. Do you post your report with the minutes? Because I would just change on your second line where you said on average this month we've had 12 patrons per week. Can you just change it to say 12 patrons in the building?
Sure.
There's not 12 people that come to the library.
Right. Okay.
Just to make it a little clearer.
All right.
Anyone else have any comments on the director's report?
On terms of these programs that are upcoming, Sam, I can see some opportunities for some cross-posting on Facebook, but I haven't seen maybe I've missed it, but I haven't seen like the geology, the local geology ones come up to. It's easy if it comes up on your page, and then we can hit share to the other pages of people where they might be interested in those topics.
Katrina.
Coming up, yeah.
Yeah, we cross-posted them with Littleton Conservation.
Perfect.
And also I'm at 100 people as of this afternoon with a waiting list. So
okay. Well, those don't need cross-posting.
You don't need to beat the bushes for that program.
I knew that the last one was so popular. I just wanted to make sure that they were getting seen by people.
Yeah.
Great.
Thank you.
And I know that, so one thing I should have said in my trustee update, I've been talking to Diane about another story walk this summer. As part of summer reading. So that is another thing that will be coming up, hopefully.
Okay. Okay, if there's no other questions on the director's report, do you have anything to add, Helen?
Let me think for a second. You know, it was a really good program. It was kind of a sleeper and not a lot of like work for me, but just attending it was the Resilient River, the Merrimack River. We had 37 people do that, and we bought 3 copies of his book that finally came out last week, and it flew out the door and has holds on it. So if you want it, you have to put your hold on it because you're not going to get it now for at least 3 weeks. But it was really a popular program, and he did a great job presenting. He was a former newspaper reporter for the Newburyport newspaper, and he just did a really good job. So,
Yeah, I attended that program. It was very
Yeah.
informative.
yeah, I liked him.
Okay, COVID updates.
Okay, so I met with the department heads, and later I then talked to the staff about this plan. So what we would like to do, and they seem okay with it, we'd like to return to normal operation. Basically, that means stop computer appointments, stop any age limits. Begin this on June 7th. That's a Monday, so that would be at 10 a.m. And then we would also like to, instead of opening at closing at 7 on Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays, we want to extend that to 8 p.m. And then basically continue to limit patron computer time to 1 hour. Encourage patrons not to spend more than an hour in the children's room. We anticipate they might want to do that. So even if we remove the tables and the chairs, they tend to like to hang out up there. So we would encourage them not to spend it more than an hour up there. Patrons wouldn't be allowed to use any of the comfy seatings, tables, chairs that are out in the library other than the computer stations. We would continue curbside for those patrons that are uncomfortable with it, and hopefully start to wean off of that eventually, but we would definitely continue that. We were kind of doing that anyway, even before COVID. If there were patrons that didn't want to come in, we would always go out there. So we'll probably continue that one way or another. Meeting rooms. So right now I've spoken to the fire chief, Scott Wodzinski, and he said that he wants to talk with Ed Mullen and Joe about room capacity limits. Right now, I don't think they're letting too many of the town side meeting rooms be used. But I have heard from the other town departments like Park and Rec and COA that they would like to use the rooms. So we're probably all going to get together and talk about that. And then I guess I would extend to patrons using the study rooms, that's the Cooper room or other meeting rooms as well. And then all the other things we've done so far, like patrons would have to wear a mask, obviously, when they come in. Protective shields would stay up. Patrons would not be allowed to bring in food or drink. So we're starting to do away with the contact tracing forms and just have patrons sign in with their name and phone number. And they don't have to fill out the whole form again. That's what the town started doing. So we're doing the same. And the other day we stopped, all libraries were given advice from MBLC not to quarantine returns or holds anymore. So we're basically back to normal operation when it comes to that, we're just checking them in as they come in. So yeah, so that's our plan. Any questions? Dave.
Yeah. It says, okay, you're going to continue curbside. That's good.
Yeah.
That's a good thing because there are people that I guess that don't want to come in. The times I've been by curbside, the tables are right backed up against the door. So how are you going to deal with that? Are you just going to have people come in only in the back and keep the front of it like it is now? Or are you going to have people trying to slide by to get through the front door? How are you going to work that?
We probably have patrons call. Right now they tend to call anyway, or they just come to the front door. I don't know. We'll have to work on figuring out a way to do that.
Yeah.
Now that it's warmer out, we could probably keep the door open. Yeah, we'll have to think about that. It's a good question.
Yeah, because the table's right backed up against the door, so you can't get by it anyway unless you move the table. So,
right.
All right, that was it.
Do you need a capacity or door count, given with the current library restrictions by the state?
So I think it's 50%, right?
I think so.
I don't think it would be like 60 people. I don't know that we'd ever reach that at the same time in one day, at one time. So I think it'll be okay. Unless people find out we're open and then everybody comes in. But,
that children's room is a very good allure. It might have a
my
draw.
calendar.
I know.
10 o'clock on the 7th. Got it.
Already in the library, June 7th.
So Sam, we talked at one point about like getting book lockers where people could check out. Would that still be useful or something we should pursue? Because that might be a good solution to curbside where we could put the books in and people don't actually necessarily have to interact with the staff if they're concerned about that.
Yeah, those things are like close to $10,000. So I'll have to see if we can either talk about using the CARES Act. Also, it wasn't in the original design for the new building, so I think that might need electricity on the outside. So we'll have to figure out how that would work if we got it both. I don't know if there's an electrical outlet outside the current library or outside the new library. So I will look into that. But as of right now, no, we don't have any plans to do that.
Yeah. I mean, eventually that the need for that would go away, wouldn't it? You wouldn't need them anymore?
Well, it depends. So people could use it to pick up books off hours potentially and things like that, right?
Yeah.
So if you couldn't make the library, you could say, could you put my books in the library in my in a locker and I'll come and get them. So,
yeah.
So I don't think it's a bad thing to look into if there's room for it in the new library. I wouldn't buy them for the existing library if we didn't have room for it in the new one.
Yeah. Right.
My daughter Lori uses lockers when she takes a delivery from Amazon over at UMass Lowell. They have Amazon lockers over there, and they're all electric, like you say. And you get a code by email and all that stuff. So there's a lot of administration that goes with that also. You know, it's a big nut to take on.
Okay. Does anyone have any questions or comments on that opening? Do we need to do anything with so I don't think the meeting rooms are that big of a deal because I think the meeting rooms are pretty much going to be in use anyway, right? By storage of stuff or something else, right? Only the Cooper room was the only one that I think could potentially be cleared out enough to be used, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Now after the book sale, the storage closet in the Cooper room is basically empty, right? So I guess the Cooper room would be available to.
Do we need to do any rearrangement of like moving the furniture? I know that I was in very briefly today to sign papers and I noticed like the furniture's like so that you can't sit on it, but it's still out in the library. Do we want to move it to the storage rooms or other places if more people are potentially coming in? Or is there furniture rearrangement or shelf rearrangement or anything we need to do before we let the masses in?
I mean, it doesn't look pretty, but it's working. So, you know, I know the other departments are going to want to use the Cooper room. So the less we fill it, I think that's for the better. And then whatever's out in the library, it's like I said, it doesn't look pretty, but it's working.
Yeah, I was more thinking of whether you wanted to move stuff into the small meeting room or if the veterans agent is using it or.
Yeah, the veterans agent is still in there. And then the small conference room already has the small little study room in the back has stuff in it.
Okay. So if there's anything you need help with, you know, to get the library ready, ask Katrina.
Okay.
I got muscles. I can do it.
All right.
The only other thing I can think of, Sam, is as we approach the time where the Cooper room is being used by other groups to set expectations up front with how like capacity limits and even like cracking windows when you're there and closing them and then wiping things down, things like that. The typical COVID precautions, just a lower risk. We just don't really want anyone in there to We'd like them to lower their risk as much as possible. So if there are any expectations for how you would like groups who are using the space to take care of the space so that your staff doesn't have to clean and stuff, that would be ideal, I think, to set up front.
Yeah, I spoke to Park and Rec, and they mostly want to use the room in case there's a rain date.
Okay.
So I don't even think they would use it that often. And then I'm not sure what Ashley wants to do as far as COA goes, but I don't think she would use it very often either.
Well, hopefully her population of people are well vaccinated at this point too.
Yes, they inform us every time they come in.
I love it.
So yes.
Okay. And the staff's okay with the plan?
Yep. Yeah, no one, everyone was okay for the most part. There were a couple that weren't crazy about it, but they're okay.
Okay.
Is the staff fully vaccinated at this point, Sam?
For the most part, I think everyone's gotten at least the first vaccine. I got the Johnson & Johnson one, so I'm fully vaccinated. A few other people got Johnson & Johnson.
Okay.
So I think by the time we open, pretty much everyone will have gotten the second one if they wanted to get a vaccine. Yeah.
That's nice.
Okay. Any other questions on the reopening? If
I know
not,
two girls who will be very excited, so I'm looking forward to it.
I do expect you're going to have a number of kids in that children's room, unvaccinated kids in the children's room.
I know.
They'll have their masks on.
There are other libraries in the area that have already opened, and you say that the kids are actually the most well-behaved ones.
I was going to say they're really good at wearing their masks, so
Yeah.
the children's room is going to be fine. But
I was more worried about the capacity of the children's room
Yeah.
than kids. I don't know if you have to kind of pay attention to that, right? The library, you might have the capacity of 60, but if you broke that down between the 3 floors, that's 20 in the children's room. And I could see that after not allowing them in for 15 months, that you're going to get a flood or potentially a flood. So I think that's something you might have to keep an eye on and figure out how to police, but it's a good problem to have.
Yeah, I've already been talking to Diane about that and how we're going to approach it.
And I
if all
assume
the trustees' families show up at once, we'll fill that 20 capacity quick.
there's no kids in my house any longer. Yeah. And I assume a lot of the toys and things in the children's room are going to stay away.
Yeah, Diane put those away a long time ago.
So, okay.
I can't wait.
Any
till
other
it's
questions?
out. Can't wait till it's normal.
Okay.
Good job on this,
Sounds
Sam,
good.
and your staff.
Yes.
Thank you.
Tent rental.
Okay, so I took a look at a few different rental companies. Most of them, we got to them too late. They didn't have any tents available for the amount of time we needed them for. So one company did Big Top Rental. The vendor came out and he took a look at the library area. He didn't think it would work in the front. So he went in the back and he measured out an area, and in the lawn behind the library, there are 2 trees. Next to those 2 trees, he has a tent big enough that can fit in that space with stakes in the ground. He measured it out. It would fit there. He says it would fit about 70 people without social distancing. So it's a fairly large tent. So the cost for renting it from June 20th to August 20th would be $3,553.48. I did contact Anthony today, and he said that he would like us to bring it up at the select board meeting. He asked me to go before the select board at their May 24th meeting, just to give an update on the library and the project and our reopening plan. And when I brought up this tent rental thing, he asked if I could bring that up as well. And he mentioned that we should also get the input of DPW. So yeah, so this is the only quote I was able to obtain. Like I said, the other companies, they said they didn't have anything available.
What's the tent for?
For programming, for outdoor programming. So it would be for the children's and teens to do story times out there. And then we'd also offer it up to COA, maybe Park and Rec to use as well.
Are they chipping in on the price?
Not yet.
Not yet.
Sam, can you repeat the number? The cost for me?
3,553, 48 cents.
It's the cents I didn't get. 48 cents?
Yeah.
That's
Thank
for
you.
8 weeks, you said, Sam?
Yeah, June 20th to August 20th.
Okay. So assuming that we can get approval from the town to put this up, what do people think? I'm not sure I understand exactly where it's going, but I like the idea of a tent.
So that's for 9 weeks, right, Sam? You said 8.
Yeah, either 8 or 9 weeks, whatever June 20th to August 20th is. I didn't actually count. I just gave them dates.
Okay. Because you got the first week rent and then the next 8 weeks rent. So I guess that's 9 weeks. Okay.
Yeah.
Just don't want them to overcharge you.
Yeah.
So I guess the question is how often, to get value out of this kind of thing, how often do we think we'll be using it? Like, does the staff have some ideas for programming?
Yeah, so Diane actually sent me an email today. She said she met with Jean and Jenna, and they're very excited about the possibility of having this tent. I did speak to Ashley about it, but she never got back to me. I showed her where it was, and then she said she had to think about it, but she's very busy, so she didn't get back to me, but I'm sure they would like to use it as well. Diane definitely has plans for it.
That's great.
Do we feel confident that it won't blow away, that it will?
Yeah, that's why we wanted to get it at the library, just so we could keep an eye on it. We had thought about maybe like Fay Park or something, but I know with the book sale, the tent flew away a couple of times that they had. So we just wanted to make sure it was someplace that we can keep an eye on it.
Will they come out to maintain it, or is it then your problem?
I think it's our problem.
We should double check with that with them. And when do you have to pull the trigger? Do you have a?
He didn't say. He said he had it available. So, and from what I heard, they're not the most. They're popular, but they're not the ones that people go to first for tent rentals. So, I think they're okay. I don't think if we hold off, we'll lose out.
Okay.
So the nice thing about having this tent in this time frame is that we're expecting to move the library in the end of August. So it'd still give the library a chance to finish out summer reading and hold some events during that time.
Right.
So the other question is, if we don't have the tent, what would be the plan for summer reading programs?
So right now it's still Zoom. We're trying to figure out whether or not we can use the multi-purpose room. If I know when I brought up the idea of using the Cooper room, Scott said he would like to talk to Ed again about whether or not we can start going back to some sort of normalcy and start using town hall meeting rooms again. So I think that'll be a part of the discussion. Using the Cooper room, we could still go outside just without a tent, or we could get those portable tents that we use at Third Thursdays. We could do something like that, a couple of those. But yeah, we're still working on that.
Did anyone have any other comments on the tent? Positive, negative?
Do we need to vote on the price? I mean, I think it's a great idea. I think it's to have something that's I don't want to say permanent, but more substantial than the sort of the smaller portable ones, is a great idea. But I don't know if we had to vote on the money.
Yes.
Yep. Now or after he gets approval from the board?
Well, I would say we should vote on it now, contingent on him getting approval. And we can probably take it out of that programming budget too, right? Because it kind of goes to the programming anyway, and you're not going to spend the whole. You got like $6,500 to spend in the next 2 months. I don't think you're going to go through it all.
Yep.
Right. So I don't think we necessarily need to allocate more money. Do you agree with that, Sam?
Yeah, we have the money in the MMDT for it.
I mean, we don't have to take it out of the MMDT that we have. We have it in your budget. You had like trustees programming funds.
Yeah, that is MMDT. That's the
Oh,
money. Yeah, that's the money you
okay.
got putting in there for that.
Okay.
I love the idea of having a space an outdoor space where we can do programming to make it safer. I mean, outdoors is just safer for everyone. And then that also allows you to spread out and move and have shade and protection. If it is raining, you could still be under that tent, presumably, as long as the water runs the right way, I guess. But and then even, if there are people who want to work outside at the library, dragging a table out from the Cooper room and a chair, and they get Wi-Fi outside the building, that might be a nice option for some people who would normally work inside the building, and need to be away from home for various reasons. I can see flexibility in it. I would love, especially if the other town departments can use it too. Like if it's there and not being used, I feel like everyone should use it, especially if we're spending money on it.
Yeah, I agree with all of that. I'm all for the tent. As you know, I've been pushing for the tent for a while. My big concern is if the tent's at the library, we just have to coordinate programming around construction schedule, right? So you don't want to have large programs in the back of the library at 11 a.m. when all the construction workers are there and the construction equipment's there, any more than, it's just, and I don't know that that's necessarily matters whether it's inside or outside. I'd be worried about, just construction traffic and programming traffic happening, overlapping any more than we have to. Right. So if you do your programs a little later in the day, which I'm sure most of them probably are anyway, or, you just coordinate and make sure there's no, they're not bringing in a lot of heavy equipment or, things like that on the days you're doing the programming, it would be a good thing it's going to be a coordination effort that has to happen. So. Anyone else have any comments on the tent? Did someone want to make a motion to pay for it? Anyone?
Go ahead, David. Could be your last motion.
Let's see. Okay, I make a motion that we allocate, that we authorize Sam to go forward and rent this tent. You want the exact price in there?
I have it. I have it in here. It's $3,553.48. I'm going to put that in the motion. So you want to say it or just?
Yeah, $3,553.48, not to exceed $4,000. How's that?
Okay. Pending approval of.
Pending approval of Board of Selectmen.
Do you want to make
You're
a?
right behind me,
You want to be a second for your final thing, Demetra?
Oh, I second it. Sorry, I have a child behind me. I second the motion.
Okay. Any further discussion? All in favor? Katrina,
Yes.
Demetra,
Yes.
Mira,
Yes.
David,
Yes.
Chris.
Yes.
Okay, so it passes. So good going forward. Sam, if you want me at the selectmen's meeting on the 24th, let me know.
Okay.
I probably will end up being there anyway. Or potential that I'm there.
Okay.
Okay. Director's performance review.
I forget. Is this public record that I keep minutes on, or do we attach this to the minutes? I mean, I don't want to
I think it's
take
always.
minutes if we.
I think it's always been public.
All right, so I should take minutes on what we say. Is that what I'm hearing? Okay.
You want to drive, Sam?
Sure. So this is a performance review we do every year. Since it's actually due in June, but since this is the last meeting with the current board, I thought we'd do it now. That's what we usually do in the past. So it's divided up into sections. So the first section is accomplishments achieved. So I put down that this year I worked with the staff and trustees on a reopening plan for COVID. We held meetings pretty much when we weren't open to the public. I held meetings with the staff pretty much every week to discuss how they were, how things were going with them. And then we eventually talked about how we're going to reopen to the public. I also attended weekly meetings with the construction team, met with the architects regularly. We talked about interior design of the new library. I worked with the OPM to complete monthly reports to MBLC and engaged in various other new construction related activities. Recently, I also applied for an LSTA grant to bring adaptive technologies to the new library for the visually and hearing impaired. I'll hear about that in July. And this past year, I was also the president of MVLC, where I helped to lead the organization through the pandemic and come up with the policies for both RHL and 35 other member libraries. So any questions about that? Okay, so the second section is divided into communication, personnel management, financial management, planning and organization, leadership, problem solving, and innovation, customer service, time management, and technology competence. So this was sort of hard because we weren't really open for most of the year, but so I kind of just kept the same numbers from last year's performance review. So for communication, I gave myself a 4. Like I said, I didn't meet with the staff regularly to talk about COVID, and we met almost every week. When we weren't meeting every week, staff was coming to me to talk or emailing me or calling me. Personnel management, I gave myself a 4, again, just with my interactions with the staff, giving them guidance on what we should do as far as COVID goes and what programs we should offer. Financial management, I gave myself a 5. I've been working with Helen to monitor the budget every year, these past few months, and we've been keeping track of how we spend, making sure we reach the MAR, which we have this year as well, and we have last year. Planning organization, I gave myself 4 for working on the planning for COVID and reopening. Leadership, problem solving, and innovation, I also gave myself a 4. Customer service and time management, I gave myself 3. Customer service was hard because no real customers to work with, but when I did work with customers for things like notaries, or when we started opening by appointment, I have been there to work with them and interact with them and help them. And time management, I always have a problem with time management. I'm constantly busy with one thing or another, so I gave myself a 3 on that. And then technology competence, I gave myself a 5. I think I'm pretty good with working with the staff about technology and the computer software and the ILS, and usually they come to me for any questions they might have on that. So any questions about that section? Okay. So last year, these are the performance objectives I came up with. And so I'm just giving an update on where we are with that. So objective number 1 was continue to work with the library trustees, staff, project committees, PMBC, architects, team at risk, OPM, and MBLC to see the library through the construction phase of the project. Update is the library project is almost complete, and we anticipate opening in late summer, early fall. So I gave myself a 5 for that. Objective number 2 was guide the library staff through the current COVID-19 pandemic, creating plans to ensure the safety of the staff and patrons while maintaining regular library services and new virtual programs, figure out a communication plan and strategy with regular updates to patrons, trustees, and staff. So I did create a reopening plan with the library staff and trustees. I kept regular communication with patrons through Browse, the website. We started allowing patrons in by appointment while following protocols to maintain the safety of both patrons and staff. And I gave myself a 5 for that. Objective number 3, review current staff job descriptions and work with human resources and the personnel committee if needed to ensure that they're streamlined and better meet the needs of the library. So I did on my own review the job descriptions, and I did talk with Ann Esmond while she was still in HR, but then we transferred over, we got a new HR director, and I don't know if you're all aware of this, but now it looks like the personnel committee might be dissolved. They're going to bring that up at the next town meeting. So the second half of that, working with human resources and personnel, has kind of been a harder thing to do, mostly because of COVID and a change in staff. So I gave myself a 3 for that. Let's see. Objective 4, come up with a plan to prepare the library and staff to move into the new library by prepping the collection, furniture, and other materials to be moved. So I have been working with the staff to come up with weeding lists. As you probably saw during the book sale, we've weeded a lot. There's constantly boxes full of books going down there. And I finally got Dan to start weeding the children's collection. So that's probably going to be the biggest part. I've met with 5 moving companies to secure quotes for the moving. And I'm currently working with the TA the assistant town administrator to work with a plan to award a contract and to figure out what to do with the current furniture. So I gave myself a 5 for that. And finally, objective 5, work with Helen to improve how we track the budget and make acquisitions given current pandemic conditions, work with finance director on budgeting strategies. So Helen and I do meet with pretty much every couple of weeks to discuss the budget, track spending habits. I did discuss the annual budget with the finance director, but due to town enforced spending freezes, there wasn't a ton I could spend money on. So I was limited in what I was able to accomplish. So I gave myself a 4 on that. So any questions about that section?
I have a question for you about the third one. I guess I'm not sure you deserve a 3 if the staffing changes have resulted in not being able to complete that task. I mean, that doesn't seem like it falls under that's not really your fault. You know, that's just kind of I guess that's just my opinion.
Any other questions? Comments? Okay. So objectives for next year. Basically to finish out the construction project. So work with the trustees, committees, PMC, BCs, the architects. So there's going to be final reports we're going to have to write. I'm going to have to write for MBLC that will be coming up once we move into the building. We're going to have to work on creating a plan for what we're going to do when we move into the new building as far as how we're going to continue services. So I put that under that objective. Second objective was COVID-19 is winding down, but it's probably going to still be around for a while. So working with the staff to create plans to continue offering services to our patrons during the pandemic and how that'll look. Number 3 is to, again, revise the current staff job descriptions and work with human resources. So the way the town is doing it now that it looks like personnel committee might be leaving is that we're supposed to work with Joe Layden and the new HR manager, Bridget Bell, to come up with personnel committee job descriptions changes. So I'd work on that next year with them. Number 4, work on programming to better meet the needs of the stable community in Littleton through new technology programs and grants. So if I do get this grant in July, part of that is to create programming to go along with offering services to the visually and hearing disabled. So that would be part of it. And if we do not have to get the grant, I'll still try to do something along those lines, even if we don't get the grant. And then finally, coordinate with other town departments on programming. So I've been working with COA these last few months anyway. So I'd just like to continue doing that to offer more programs to the elderly. We're also, I'm working with Nicole on creating a program for those with substance abuse issues and mental health issues. So we're working on that as well. So that's it for that section. Any questions on that?
So on that section, my only concern is I think one is going to dominate a large portion of your time next year, right? If we just go from, this starts what, July 1st? So you have 2 months of prepping to move into the building. And then once the building's open, you have probably 3 months of just working out the kinks and the scheduling, figuring out how to survive in the new building. So I think number one is going to take up a lot of time next year. And I'd be worried about you actually being able to spend much time on some of these other objectives. So I'd be, not that I think any of these are things that I don't want to see you do. I'm just wondering if you're going to have enough time to hit all 5 of them, because I think one is going to basically be 1, 2, and 3, right? It's going to be that much work, right? That's my concern. So. I don't know what other people think.
So are you suggesting splitting that into 2 and putting one of these other things in the
I would consider splitting, so I might split 1 into 2 and then maybe make 4 and 5 merge together, right? Because then
Yeah.
you could, yeah. I'm just worried that 1 is going to be a huge amount of work, Sam. I mean, you're going to have to figure out, how many people are going to be coming into the new building, what hours you're going to be there, how you're going to staff it, how everything just flows in the new building is, and the effort of moving to the new building and everything else. It's going to take, that's going to dominate at least the first third of the year for you. Right.
Right.
So I think so I would favor trying to figure out how to reword 1 to make it 1 and 2, and then make 4 and 5 together. David?
You're going to merge them, but it's all the same stuff. So I'm wondering why you want to change anything. This is what Sam wants to try and do. Just because you merge 1 and 2 and reword it a little bit, it's the same thing, isn't it?
No, because if they're equally weighted, right, he gets, 5 points for each of these, it's going to be hard to accomplish 4 and 5 individually, right, at a 5 level if he's spending a third of his time doing number 1. That's my concern, right? I think they're all good goals. I'm just wondering if you're going to have time to do them. That's my concern.
We're going back to that time management thing from the top, Sam.
I won't be MVLC president anymore come July 1st. So that's
Okay, great.
weight off my shoulder. And then I don't think we'll be holding as many meetings. I'll be dealing with the building, but it won't be as much planning that'll go into it. Well, as from that end anyway.
After you're in the building.
Right, after I'm in the building.
So this starts in July, right?
Yeah, it starts in July, goes to
But you don't think the month of, half of July and all of August is just 100% or 120% all moving into the new building?
Yeah.
So I'm fine if you think you can accomplish them the way they're worded.
I guess the question is also, is the construction phase wrapping up in July, and therefore that piece of it's kind of small. And then the moving is that dominant piece. Sam? What do you
Yeah.
want to do?
I'm okay with the way it's worded. Yeah, I mean, I think I can do it. I think I'll be okay.
The COVID piece is also going to wrap into those getting yourself settled and into routines and stuff. So it kind of lends itself to one anyway, that first year.
Right.
But it does take a different part of your brain to do that well. So I can see why there are two objectives.
Okay. Does anyone else have any comments?
Go for it, Sam.
All right.
Our new trustees
I
have anything
wanna,
they want
like,
to add?
Add is the you're totally looking at me, weren't you? The only thing I might suggest adding is I know you've worked on this and you've done this in the last year of the messaging out and trying to get the news out, and we're continuing to still have issues getting word out. So anything you can do, especially maybe under 5, as we're talking about developing programming across town departments, is enabling or is trying to create some cross board communication patterns too. Like, is there any way we can get something into the broadcaster for the COA? Is there any way we can, cross advertise programming for both groups, kind of thing, just to start building those partnerships to reach a broader audience, like things like that. I'm not sure exactly what this would look like, but continue to include the communication and messaging piece in one of these objectives.
Okay, I'll add that.
Thank you.
Anyone else have any other comments on Sam's review? Do we need a motion for me to sign it, or I just sign it?
You just sign it.
Okay. So now you just need to let me into the library?
Yeah. June 7th.
You can't come in until then, Mark, even though you have a key.
June 15th. So he'll have
I'm sure you could sign it electronically if you needed to.
he can come in.
Probably not for the town. Okay. Okay. If there's no comments, then I'll be by to sign it.
Okay, thanks.
Any other business?
Yeah, there was one more thing. Town meetings on June 12th. Can we delay opening so that the staff can attend the town meeting?
Yes.
That's a Saturday, right? Yes.
Saturday.
I am okay with that.
You need a motion for that?
I think so. I'm not sure what time town meeting's going to end. So
No one.
What time? It starts at 8.
it starts at 8. So
So do you want to delay opening till noon?
that's what I was thinking.
Seems
Okay.
reasonable.
Okay.
How many, you have any idea how many working that Saturday that don't live in Littleton?
Not that specific Saturday, but
Could you arrange it that way so that if it runs longer than 12, that there'd be somebody there?
yeah, usually we ask Tracy. She lives in Air. I could go into. I think Jeff lives in Westford, so there would be at least 3 that could do it.
That's enough to hold the fort for a little bit.
Okay. So we'll open at noon on that Saturday. Okay.
All right, thank you.
Any other business?
Do we not have to
Yeah.
vote on that? We don't have to vote on that?
I think
Don't need to
we,
vote.
Do we need to vote?
I think we usually vote when we delay opening.
I make a motion that we move the opening of the library on, was it June 14th?
June 12th.
12.
June 12th to noon instead of 10 o'clock.
I second.
Who was
All
that,
in
Mira?
favor? Demetra.
Mm-hmm.
All in favor? Demetra.
Yes.
Mira.
Yes.
Katrina.
Yes.
David.
Yes.
Chris.
Yes.
Okay. So open on noon on the 12th.
Thank you.
Anything else?
Yes. The phone system.
Yeah, we're working on it. There's a lot of new parts, new working parts to this new phone system.
Yeah.
Is it still doing that thing where when you get a call, it's from Lowell?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
And-
Yeah.
and-
I asked about that.
Yeah, not too many people can transfer calls either. I tried
Yeah,
to get
that's-
Gene.
yeah.
That's not working well. Yeah.
I asked them. I've asked them.
Okay. And
Yeah.
listen, when you call, right, it gives you the mechanical message first. And then you got to go and somebody says it again. Can we lose the mechanical message? No?
I had a lot of back and forth with them about that.
Okay.
I
I'll
told them not to do it.
leave you with that. Maybe you could get a computer whiz in there to do it for you.
Okay.
He can hack it and take it out.
Yeah, we're still
All right.
figuring out all the parts of it.
Yeah.
It's
Good luck with it, Sam.
Thank you.
So do you want to fill in the details for those that don't know, Sam? The town got a new phone system.
Yeah, the town got a new phone system. It's cloud-based. So it's everything has to be, it doesn't have to be done online, but when they teach you how to do it, that's the only way they really teach you how to do it. And a lot of the staff doesn't like the change that's involved with going online to make these changes when it worked just well before. So it's part of it is getting the staff on board with it and getting them used to the changes. Part of it is that it's a new system. So they're still working out all the kinks. So hopefully in the next month or two, it'll all be figured out. The staff will know how to use it, and the company will have figured out all of the other stuff that's wrong with it. The town and the IT department.
And the other good part is it saved us money on the new library because then we don't have to buy a phone system.
Yeah. But it added the app to my cell phone, so now every time my work phone rings, my cell phone rings too. So,
I don't think that's a good idea, Sam.
so yeah, so if you ever need to get me in my office, you can just call and
Okay.
get it on my cell.
All right.
That doesn't give you time off, Sam.
No, it doesn't.
I'm going to call all the time now.
Okay.
I just want to say before we sign off, I know we all mentioned, when David and Demetra had their updates, but just again, I just want to say it's been a pleasure working with you guys over the last 4 years, because you both were here before I was, and I will miss you both very much. And I hope that I will see you in the new library and that we will someday be able to be in the same room together again. So just thank you. Thank you both for being welcoming to me and helping me with all of the, the learning curve and all that stuff. I know we've been through a lot in the last 4 years, so I've really enjoyed it.
Oh, thank you, Chris.
Thank you.
You have to come to the grand opening.
Best of luck. Hope to see you around.
Yep. A wine and beer party at Mark's house.
I thought we were doing scotch.
Yeah, scotch too. All right. Okay.
Okay.
We good? Oh, no.
Yes.
I
You
make
have to
a
adjourn.
motion. Make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
I second.
They got all their emotions in.
I did.
All in favor, Chris, Katrina,
Yes.
Mira,
Yes.
David,
Yes.
Demetra.
Yes.
Okay, thank you both for your service, and we'll see everyone, our new trustees, on June 3rd. So
Good luck, new trustees.
Yes.
don't forget to
Yeah.
vote on Saturday.
Of course.
Yeah.